Hello, everybody. Nice to see everybody. I'm Scott Douglas. I'm hosting along with Patricia Tomowski. Welcome to healingals.org Sunday community meetings. We have these community meetings to help people stay updated. We want to let everybody know that we ourselves are not medical professionals and we are not here trying to give you medical advice, but we do invite many different medical professionals to come along and help get to the bottom of what's happening in your personal journey with ALS. And it's important that you see it as your journey. We end up getting caught up in regular, traditional, allopathic ways of saying that, hey, we need to fight this thing, that thing, whatever, but it is not your disease. This is something that was inflicted on you that triggered your body in a certain way. So what we want to do is get that what came in your body out and give it back to where it ever came from. Okay? We are in the healing business. That is different. And it's a different approach. You have to approach this with an open mind. It's very important. We're here for educational purposes. So the guests that we have and the many different integrative and functional and doctors and many different medical professionals that we have, we're all here to help you, okay? We want to see people gaining in functionality, not losing functionality. And others have reversed this ALS disease, and we want to see you take your personal journey and reverse ALS also. And we just want to let you know that a lot of this is looked over when it comes to the mental. 60% mental, 40% physical of what you're doing. Please try to do things that resonate with you in your body. Your mindset makes a big difference. Stay positive. Don't get caught up in that weird parasympathetic world where you're in defense mode, fight or flight. You need to experience joy in your life, no matter what is going on. Open up those cells so they can just take more. The lipid structure around the cell can take more ingredients when you're embraced in love. Okay? So we love you all. I want to get that out there. We do, and we are here to help. So we have a guest today and a few things that we have to let you know of what's going on, especially with our registry and with many different things and programs that we have to help you. So Tish, do you have that list of programs and options? And please include the registry.
I just realized that as Scott was talking, that Monday advanced Q&A is now on Monday. So basic Q&A is at 12:30 Eastern. Advanced Q&A is at 2 p.m. Eastern. So all the Q&As, please try to come every Sunday and every Monday. In addition, we'll talk about the next thing. I want to thank our donors as well. And our volunteers. There was no way that we could have these programs available if it weren't for our volunteers. And especially, I want to thank Rita for volunteering her time these last 3 weeks, giving us a lot of information about detox. So this is really appreciative. We lose some people sometimes, and it's really, really difficult when we do. And Anita was very beloved in our community. She helped a lot of people. Gabby, who you see in the picture, is her daughter, and she's a volunteer. She's a co-coordinator of the volunteers. And I just wanted to honor her. She passed away a couple of weeks ago, and it's a fight, guys. She fought. And Gabby knows, and we have some pretty good ideas that, had she known some things earlier, that it's very possible she would have beat this fight, but sometimes it's not meant to be. But I do want to honor Anita, because she was a very successful businesswoman. She was an entrepreneur. She was an actress before that. She loved spending time with her family. Just playing games, cooking. She was very, very active in her community and in her synagogue. Gabby says the best thing about her mom, she was just a great mom. When you raise two independent children, to grow into successful independent adults, that's a huge accomplishment for any mother. So I just wanted to honor Anita. I also want to honor Dave Rebel as well. Dave was a volunteer for us as well, and so was Carol, his partner. He was diagnosed with ALS in 2020. Also a very successful career. He was a retired engineer. He loved boating and got his captain's license, which is a big deal. He loved playing the piano, just major outdoors, sports, traveling, lived a very active life, has also left behind a son and a daughter and is a grandfather. So it's again, sometimes things happen that you can't, sometimes you get pneumonia and you don't get over it, no matter what you do. So this is a risk for anybody, whether you've got ALS or not. But I wanted to just honor both of these because it's a tough fight, and I think both Dave and Anita gave it their best, and I really want to honor both of them, and honor their partners and their families, because they were all very supportive in what they were doing. And my goal is to get you guys 90% of, and I say 90% because you have to it takes work. You have to do everything that you can to heal. But my goal is I'm not going to be happy. Scott and I are not going to be happy until we have a 90% or more reversal rate. It's that simple. And I believe we can do it. I truly do, with everything that we're learning. So one of the things that we did is we created this 47 Steps to Healing ALS course. It is a year-long course. If every single person that is in the audience right now is not a part of this and is not working through these modules, then please take the time out of your week and don't get too far behind, because we would like you to participate in this. We believe that this 47 steps is going to give us a 90% reversal rate. And look, it might not happen by the end of 2020, because sometimes it might take 2 or 3 or 4 years for you to reverse. But the idea is that everybody who goes through these 47 steps that's our goal. And I'm not stepping down from that goal, because I believe if you get it early enough. The other thing that I was talking to a pals and a Cals last night, Scott and I were on a Zoom with them. And when Scott says every week, it's a marathon, not a sprint, that means it might take you a long time to heal. It doesn't mean that you don't do everything you can to heal in the early years. Okay. So what you want to do as much as you can to heal now, because the more you do now, the more likely it's going to be easier to heal. It's kind of like cancer. It's a lot easier to heal first stage cancer than fourth stage cancer. You can absolutely heal fourth stage cancer. Okay. It's just going to take you longer. So there is an advantage in going through these steps and doing things earlier versus later. So, okay. So that is going on. Please go to healingals.org for all of the information about this course. Make sure you're on our email list. If you are not on our email list, check spam and promotions. Go to healingals.org. Make sure that you are on the email list, and email healingals@gmail.com if you cannot find us. If you're not doing the registry, please go to alsregistry.org and fill out that information. And the website, maybe next week, maybe the week after. It is coming soon. Okay, Dr. Rita Ferraro, thank you so much for coming. And we did, Dr. Ferraro will review, and if you just, she's had how many years experience now since you were sick in the 90s? So you're talking over 20 years at this point.
Yeah, way over 20 years.
Yeah, like 30 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so over 30 years experience in detoxification. And after she healed, she became a naturopath because she wanted to help other people, and that's what she's doing now. So we're so honored to have you here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ferraro.
You're welcome.
You're on.
Okay, so one of the things that I believe is really wonderful is I picked up the book by Suzanne Summers called Toxic. It is such a great book. And my friends who, are out in California and left New York or still in New York City, I start with this book, Toxic, because it's written by a celebrity, but the way the way it's written, the book is really, really good, and you will understand everything. And then you'll get to hear what happened to Suzanne Summers and her whole family. And you'll relate to so much. That people who, have oodles of money, it doesn't really make a difference. You get sick, you're sick. And I don't want to give away the lines in there and the whole plot, but it's an excellent book. And so that was one of my book recommendations. I had read it a while ago, and all of my friends said, thank you so much, because they bought that book. I think had it been by another author, they wouldn't have, because they didn't know anything about, oh, here's Rita, the naturopath. She's going to start giving us all these things to read. And it was just amazing. It helped me have relationships with people who now I can talk in a language that they understood. Highly recommend it. Okay, we can go on. Okay, we're just going to go over again because we talked about this last time. We felt it was really important that you can do an enema in a wheelchair. And this is one of my patients' setup that he has in the shower. And so they're called bedside chairs, but they look different. Everyone has a different one. So you could go to the next one. Why I wanted to put this up is I had told Tish that I wanted this up from like day one, because I wanted to show you without getting into the biochemistry, because you would be lost. But this is what I had to learn. And I just like you to, just review this slide and look at phase 1 and phase 2, how much more there is to it than what I said. Okay, so if I had to go through methylation in phase 2, acetylation, we went through glutathione conjugation, right? We told you where it's eliminated. I introduced cytochrome P450 as enzymes, and we went through. But look at the nutrients on there, which I think are really important. Look what nutrients actually support phase 1. B2, B3, B6, B12. Folic acid, now we really take 5-tetramethyl-hydrofolate. Glutathione is going to be in phase 2 too, and flavonoids, and the nutrients needed for phase 2. And remember, you're not going to just take choline. It's going to be a phosphatidylcholine. Some people are not going to be able to take glutamine, glycine. It'll be NAC, cysteine 2 NAC. We don't just take those like that. Methionine, we don't take right out. So we try to break down things. But everybody always forgets about taurine. And when I was sick, I used to carry taurine around. And whenever I got exposures, I would just open up the capsule and put it under my tongue. And somebody can't see, Jalal. But anyway, I want you to just look at this and just to see how it goes from fat soluble phase 1. You go to a built up molecule, that's what's called conjugation, right? And then to water soluble.
Yes, could you remind
And that's what I wanted you to guys to know more about.
Take a screenshot. Could you remind
But this is really the whole kit and caboodle. And you could study each separate one if you want to. And you'll go into biochemistry, which is what I'm not going to go into. But I wanted you guys to see this. I just simplified it. Okay, so the summary from week 2, as somebody was saying, we can't just do and go over everything again. Because somebody asked us, Tish, we could only say we did the different type of enemas. We went into the biology and biochemistry of enemas, the importance of enemas, how you can use them in the beginning of detox, a recipe. So you could do different enemas, and we did a whole recipe of getting rid of the mucoid plaque. And then Scott was saying about the biofilms, and I told him that's going to be discussed later. You guys, you might try what Tabitha did, but we're going to get them something. If it turns out right when you guys go to Brazil, safer. Whether I and Dr. Cowden work on it and Diana, we could figure it out. Okay. So that was the summary. So today is the third week of detox, and the whole thing's going to mainly be on sauna. And why it is because sauna is usually done improperly. You know, people really don't know. They just buy the sauna, and the sauna doesn't come with directions. Okay. I put in low dose naltrexone because I think it's important, and the nasal lavage. We're going to try to fit that in, hopefully. Okay. So 20% only come out of your skin when you sweat and you off gas, but 80% when you're in that sauna will be excreted through your liver and kidneys. So we're going through the colon, and then we're going into the bladder. So I found an FDA hearings paper that actually said 50% of that 80% goes through the liver, colon, and 50% through the kidneys, bladder. And I found that was really interesting because the FDA took that away at one point and then put it back. So I'm finding things that I read years ago that are now, we knew that are now being discussed, which is good. Okay. So we just talked about, I just showed you the liver, fat-soluble chemicals into water-soluble chemicals. It is so important that we get them back. Like, so I was 69 pounds, and I said to the counselor, why do I have chemicals? I'm 69 pounds. And she just looked at me and she said, your brain is all fat. I was just shocked because I had no fat on me. And she was like, it's all in your brain. And that's why I was so sick for so many years, you know, try and get it out of the brain. And that's what we had to do. And that's a little harder to move it and try not to get it reabsorbed. So just remember that. And so it's the liver, kidney, and the skin, which we talked about. So what are petroleum products? Those are typical examples of fat soluble and pesticides. So I'm going to find out the most in people, besides now glyphosate, which is causing holes. So they're GMOs and they're causing holes in people's intestines, right? So what we want to do is we want to get them excreted, water soluble, which, you know, we talked about the whole chemistry of that last week. So say, for instance, you had mercury in your system. We want the sauna to transform that into water soluble. I am going to say that Tish.
She was a medical doctor in Florida, and she had tried for like a year. She had done 6 months of IV chelation. It did nothing. She had tried oil chelation. She could not get the mercury out of her system. And she was mercury poisoned. And she actually got a little sauna with the head out that's foldable, and you can put it behind your bookshelf. And in 6 months, her mercury was gone. Now she did an hour a day, 6 days a week, which in general is not recommended for someone with ALS. She had more Alzheimer's symptoms than ALS. She had other symptoms in other parts of her body. But with ALS, you probably want to take it a lot more easy than that. But I can tell you that the sauna was also part of my, you know, I was MCI, mild cognitive impairment. I was a mess as far as my thinking went. And the sauna was a huge piece of getting my brain back.
So it seems like people now.
And you can do it at home.
That's the most
inexpensive, and you can do it at home. That was the best part. You get the sauna, and I still have the sauna that I bought over 10 years ago. And, you know, it is, and I still use it, and Scott uses it. So you've got it. It's usually they don't break, but mine hasn't broken. So.
And, you know, I'll tell you, the package they gave over the holiday, the Therasage, it's not like, okay, well, but the reason why I talk about Therasage is because when I've been talking to people on Healing ALS. A lot of them have it, and it is recommended because it is so low EMF. And the reason why we want your head out, my head, just to let you know, was not out. I had to stop sauna when I was up to detoxing mercury. It would not let me go in sauna. I was getting sick. So I had a lot of drugs in me. So sauna was wonderful for me. So what was happening is it's like the onion. So what was coming out first were all these chemicals and petrol. I would smell them in my coffee enemas. So the minute I was up to the mercury, it was like, bye-bye, close sauna. I still have one and I could use it. It's a high heat, beautiful, heavenly heat sauna. And I do use it because now it's not an issue with the mercury. But this one, like Tish was saying, they're foldable. Your head is out. It has everything, right? Red light for inflammation or pain. It now has an ozone add-on, which for $150, I think is amazing. Because if you were to set up an ozone sauna, it is going to take you more than $150. And the sauna conversions that say you can do ozone and they sell them on Amazon, those saunas are too high EMF. And they say, well, throw them out after a year and you still get your money's worth. But what we realize now is someone who has ALS or somebody like me cannot be in a high EMF sauna. I wouldn't go in one. So anyway, the link is on the ALS page, so we could go to the next, and you'll see what it comes with. Anyway, sauna therapy with amalgams. Okay, so this is what I say, and this really should be a general rule. And if your functional medicine doctor or practitioner, whoever you go to that's more alternative, tells you it's okay, I don't know, I would run the other way, because then they don't know anything about mercury. And I would worry that, how they're going to detox you with that amalgam in your mouth in a sauna. So we know that it comes from amalgams, it comes from coal pans. We also know that the EPA allows a certain amount of mercury. So don't think that you're just finished. You got your amalgams out, you're just finished. I'm never finished, because I was a poor excreter of mercury. And I had a snip, and all my sisters have the same snip. So it was never in my hair. We only saw it in my red blood cells. So you must. So now I say, just start with your head out, because that's what they have. Had I known, they didn't have any of these things when I was sick. So I'm going to put in here, do not do a provocation test. I might have that later, because if you're a poor excreta and somebody gives you 100, 200, 300 milligrams of DMPS and DMSA, and you're not even prepared, and they want to say in your urine, okay, let me tell you, this is how much you have. There is no measurement of your body burden. We do not have an instrument yet. We just know whether it's there or not. We may know now with the alpha scan where it is. Okay, so head out, especially if you have amalgam fillings. So say your amalgam fillings were taken out. It's not like you can't go into a closed sauna. You could check it out. But I will tell you, the closed saunas, they are very expensive compared to this. Very expensive. And now that you could put ozone in this, I can't believe it. I can't put ozone in my wooden sauna. I have a special ozone sauna. Okay, so how do I prepare for a sauna? And I say to people that please don't eat. Like, a lot of people like to do it in the morning. I've read, you're going to read several things that if you do it at night, you're going to stimulate yourself. Then you're going to read, if you do it at night, it's going to be relaxing. So you decide, but I really do believe that in the beginning of the day is better. Like, there was this man at the environmental center, and he'd had this big bacon and egg breakfast. He wasn't like 69 pounds like me, but he was a truck driver and he's full of petroleum. And every time we would tell him, why are you eating? Before the sauna, he would throw up. He'd have to get out of the sauna and vomit. So we want at least 1 hour that you ate before going into the sauna. And it would be good not to go in the sauna completely on an empty stomach. So this is the other thing. If you're taking prescription meds, which I would go to the sauna in the morning, and any meds I had to take, they would go later. Okay. We say exercise to get the lymphatic system moving, but most of you guys are not going to be able to. If you could bicycle, that's great. Start with no niacin for a while. Niacin gives you a flush, and some people just hand you 100 milligrams before you go into the sauna, and you're on fire. And it's not a pleasant feeling. So please, when you get to do sauna and you start with niacin, because we're going to vasodilate the blood vessels, and it's really good for your heart. And I couldn't do it for a very long time. So if you're very sensitive and don't want the flushing, it's still okay. Okay, so you want to be hydrated before you go in there. I felt like I was never hydrated enough, so I would take 2 or 3 glasses of water in the sauna or have it near me. So we can go to the next one. So sauna therapy supplements. So we want you to just get this ready. So I like psyllium husk because that's what I did at the center with Dr. Ray, or any other binder ready to take that you're going to come out. Electrolytes you could take after sauna, and any of the electrolytes that you're doing, please, except Gatorade. So Body Bio has an E-Light that's sold on Fullscript, Pedialyte. You all know that you get it unflavored. You can take Remag, Remite to replace the minerals that you sweated out. So you just want to have this ready. This is what we're just talking about in terms of having it ready. So you can go to the next slide. Okay, so how long does one stay in a sauna? So I always say, just go 10 minutes. I don't care if you don't sweat. You probably won't sweat. Women don't sweat much longer than men. That's just the way it is. Okay, so I wanted to tell you that still, if I sauna 20 to 30 minutes, that's a lot for me still, and I'm well. That is my time. That's it. Some people could do 45 minutes. Great to you. But I want you to know that the minute you start, because people are alone when they're sauning, maybe somebody who has a caretaker, but this is it. If you're alone in the house and you are sauning, you don't feel well, out. That was always the thing. You feel a little lightheaded, out. Never push in a sauna. It's better to come out early than to say, I must do my 30 minutes. Okay. So I like it once a day. I don't like the Ronald Hubbard where you start going into that sauna 2 times in one day. So we're going to say you're way too sensitive to do that. Don't do that. Okay. I'll go to the next slide.
Yeah, we've had several various people that have healed from ALS that have used the sauna, and they felt that it was very helpful. But you do have to be careful. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, don't go overboard. I actually got mine with 20 minutes 4 times a week. That's all I did. So you'd be surprised at how much that you can do and how much of a difference makes even a shorter time period. But we've had several people that have had really good results with sauna. So that's people with ALS. So
yeah, when I was
you have to be careful. I mean, please listen to your body, especially the men who think no pain, no gain. Forget the no pain, no gain.
Okay,
ALS,
so I cannot tell you
slow.
How many men, because I've got to see, because I went to that center, I got to see so much that went on, what people did right and the most important thing was what people did wrong. And the men would do like, oh, I want to go in another time. Like I told you, they'd vomit. It was like, don't do that. I did an 8-week sauna program. Could you imagine? I never went above 20 minutes. And guess what? I got so well. That was my limit. I didn't care what anybody did. Please don't compare yourself. Okay?
Yeah. Listen to your body. Okay.
Listen to your body. Yeah. So in a high heat sauna, which I have, and I had made, because back then they didn't even have infrared. I had the guy make me infrared panels. So I have them just scattered. And really, it should be no more. It shouldn't be like a Scandinavian sauna where they go up to 180. Even when people were going into gym saunas, they would cranking it up to 180, 170. So at 150, and you could take a thermometer in with you, the ones that are stainless steel, and you could actually put them in the oven. You could put them in there with you. And where you're sitting, that's where you should measure. Okay, so I know people go higher, but don't. Infrared could be as low as 110 degrees. I will tell you though, if you're not sweating after a while at 110 degrees, put it up in the infrared, okay? Okay, so what we wear and bring. That means bring. So several glasses of 12 ounces of clean water for each 15 minutes in the sauna. No plastic bottles, please. I know some of you might just put in plastic bottles, but we're not going to do that. So that's really important. And then I need my screen back.
You can have it back. I just figured
I go naked in the sauna, and one of the things, sometimes you're in, I was at a center, so we had to wear t-shirts, shorts. Naked is best, but one of the most important things is I used to take a towel in the beginning, and I would, you sweat so much, and so I was, even my eyes, right? So I would just start wiping. Sauna, let me sweat again, and wiping. That I found out was one of the worst things to do. I found that out early on. Sit on the towel and let yourself just drip. Drip on the towel, and that's it. So I always say only if it gets in your eyes. And then supplements to take afterwards, which is very, very important.
Yeah, electrolytes, minerals. You have to replace the good. You're sweating out both
now
bad
just
minerals
came out.
and good minerals.
Yes.
So you're sweating out everything. You need to replace the good minerals.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what I did. I was taught from Dr. Ray that this was my formula, but you guys can do anything you want in terms of what electrolytes work for you. So this is what we were taught: a half a teaspoon of trisalts. Now, my trisalts didn't have sodium in it. It was from ecological formulas and had all the carbonates: calcium, magnesium, potassium. So I would put 1/8 of a teaspoon of Himalayan or Celtic sea salt in mine because I wanted all 4. And then they have something called bisalts that leaves the sodium out for the person who has high blood pressure. So you have a lot of choices. I say 3 tablespoons. In the beginning, I think we didn't make this clear. I'm going to say 1 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil or coconut oil or any oil that you tolerate. We know canola oil isn't good. We know some of the vegetable oils are not good. By now, you know what oils are good. So I tended towards olive oil and the grapeseed oil, avocado oil. Then what you want to do is you want to take 1 tablespoon of psyllium mixed with 6 ounces of water. I would just put the olive oil, drink it, but if people can't, you can mix it in the water with the psyllium. You just have to do it fast because it's gonna pump up more. In the water, it doesn't as much. And there's a lot of people on the forums that were telling how they mix the psyllium, which I'm gonna have questions later. Wait an hour to take your minerals. So you really have to not dry yourself off because you're stopping your sweating. Somebody asked, you're really stopping and beginning again, stopping and beginning again. So you want that flow to continually happen. So they did studies. What comes out? More comes out if you don't dry yourself off. I dried myself off because I hate sweating. Just the thought of sweat on me. So I was always wiping myself off, starting off again in the sauna, until not only did I see the article, but I called up Dr. Ray when he was living, and he was like, you didn't know that? And I said, no. So I want you guys to know that. Okay, so sauna with ozone, okay? One of the things that was actually proven to me, and it's not scientific, it's not anecdotal, I saw it myself. So we used to put white towels in my friend Jack Miller's clinic, and we would do the ozone sauna, and we would do it in like the Promala big cabin. And what he did is we would get black stains on there, and we wanted to know what the black was. And it turns out that it was heavy metals, particularly mercury. So he actually went to a lab, got it done. So now when we see the water dripping down the sauna, and it's a lot of it is black, we just assume that it's heavy metals because it was tested. So the difference is the Promo Life, you'll always have steam with ozone. So that's why it's very interesting to me that I'm going to call up Derasage and see how they're doing it without steam. It's done without steam, and I didn't know you could do that. So I'll have more information for you. We'll put it on the website when I talk to them.
Yeah, I met a
yeah.
woman with an autistic son, and her son was totally normal until he had his 5-year-old shots. And then after that, he was just like uncontrollable. They couldn't do anything with him. He couldn't even, he couldn't even be a parking, what do you call that? Cart boy at Walmart. Because his behavior was just so inappropriate.
Erratic. Yeah.
And this poor mother had been trying everything for 10 years. And finally, when he was 15, she tries this combination of ASEA, and the ozone sauna. Not the sauna, just a regular sauna, not an ozone sauna. But she did a head out sauna, the same kind I had, just a regular head out sauna. And she said she did it 6 days a week for half an hour. That's about all her son would tolerate, but managed to do that with her 15-year-old. Within about month 4, she said this yellowy brown stuff started coming out. And because she would wipe down the sauna after her son was finished, and the towel was just full of yellow brown stuff. And she said, well, what happened? And it went on for about 3 or 4 weeks. He sweated out this yellowy brown stuff out of his skin. And from the day he started sweating it out is when the day his autism started getting better. And he actually became a straight A student and went to college. That is like,
can you imagine how toxic this boy was? How toxic he was?
But the sauna, and so what I want, my message about this is please be patient, because it took him to month 4. So he was doing 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. So this all comes out in layers, guys. So, don't give up. Oh, it's not working, I'm going to quit after a month. I haven't noticed anything. He didn't notice anything till the 4th month.
And if everybody would, and this doesn't happen, I would love everybody to test when a yellow-brown substance come out. I would love if people would test what comes out of them. That never happened.
Black, yellow, brown. It would be
but
nice.
Wouldn't it be interesting if we tested it? And if a sauna makes you sick, then it's not for you. If a sauna makes you sick, you try going in less. Okay. If at 10 minutes you still go, that's not your modality. Somebody just asked, that's not your modality.
Yeah. And you may not be ready now. That doesn't mean 6 months from now, you may be able to be stronger 6 months from now and be able to handle the sauna.
Oh, always. I sometimes find old modalities I'll forget about. And then like right now, I'll say, oh my goodness, I'm ready for a mucoid plaque. Oh my God, where's Bernard Jensen? So you have to realize that things can come back. Don't just write them off. You weren't ready. That's it. Your body wasn't ready. And that's okay. That's why I say, don't compete with anybody, especially if you're on forums. Oh, this one was able to do it. Sometimes I have to tell you the truth. When I was sick and somebody was doing well and I wasn't, my heart dropped. It wasn't because I didn't want to see them get well, but my heart, I have to tell you the truth, it would drop, because it would be like, I can't do that. I didn't wish them not well. It just was a sensation that I had no control over. My heart dropped. And then I would have to do all the modalities, meditate, NLP, all these things to reframe what I was feeling.
I just want to add something.
Yeah.
When my son was sick, we tried sauna in the when we were living in mold. We didn't know we were living in mold, but he got so sick. And we tried, because they told us he had Lyme disease, and then people told us, oh, heat is good to get rid of Lyme disease. So we tried hot tub, we tried sauna, But every time we would heat him up, he got physically ill. We had to have a bucket there and we had to stop what we were doing because we didn't want to push him and get him worse. But when we got out, we started with 5 minutes and that was too much. So we started with 2 minutes. If something is too much at a level, it may not mean that don't do it, because I think without sauna, we wouldn't have gotten him well. He was well 4.5 months after we got out of the mold. Through sauna detox was a big modality of ours. So I would say don't give up on it. Just cut the time in half and start slow and build up.
And Heather, here I am, years later, and I got to get out of the sauna between 20 to 30 minutes. And you could imagine in the beginning, but sauna was one of the biggest modalities that I perked up on. And I didn't care that people were going in for, I didn't care. I went in and that was it. I did my thing and I was like, it's tough. This is what I'm going to do. And I was getting better. So you could imagine how many times I went in 5 and 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then I left, But
and if you take years off,
if
you take years off from it, like my son did, he's 24 now. He was 10 when he got sick and he was 11, 12 when he got better. But because he spent almost a year sick, and then 4.5 months after we figured out what was going on and did the detox, he was better. But just last year, he came up and he was doing sauna with me. And after 10 minutes, he was sick. I said, get out. You can't just, he wants to push right through it because he's a 24-year-old man now. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go an hour. Today I'm going to go 2 hours. No, you're going to go until you can. So you got to listen to your body.
Absolutely. Or you will just get yourself sick and put yourself back.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm talking about the Ronald Hubbard. Somebody asked. Yeah. Dr. Ray took it from him. But we didn't do the constant, Ronald Hubbard is doing drugs.
If you're getting sick in a sauna, don't assume it's because you have ALS. Sauna is not good. It means it's not good for you right now. If you are being mold poisoned, guess what? You're going to get sick in the sauna. So maybe you should test your house for mold.
Absolutely.
Because that may be your issue, or you may be exposed to something else and you can't handle sauna right now. So
Tish, somebody just said her father is in petroleum and he gets sick in the sauna. Well, a farmer. Well, you have to get out of that, or you cannot sauna. You cannot sauna if you're in a toxic environment. What does that toxins mean? We went over endogenous, exogenous. So if you're in a place with mold, you've got petroleum, every form. You're staying in a place with all kinds of chemicals. Don't even bother going in the sauna. You're going to get sick. Sauning in a sick place, you cannot do that. You're not going to get
and
well.
I think even for safety, even if you're petroleum, you might want to put your head out so you're not breathing the petroleum back in that you just sweated out. I mean, to be safe, I think for ALS.
Okay, but I do have to tell you, I have a vent. I have some of the wooden saunas that were years ago, the Heavenly Heat, the guy who made them, he thought of everything. Because when you were in a tiled sauna in Dr. Ray's, what did we have? We had ventilation. So I have ventilation. It goes straight out. So anyway, I just want to say that. So don't go into a box that has no ventilation, And you know what? Don't sauna with anybody. I have a 2-person sauna. My husband's not allowed in there. When I went to Dr. Ray's, I said to Dr. Ray, people can't come in with me. I had figured it out. And he told people, when Rita's in the sauna, and it was a big sauna, no one's allowed in. And 8 people would go in there at one time and just, could you imagine, suck up each other's, and they would go in and just have conversations. And it's not a social thing, it's contemplation and rest. So I just laughed that Dr. Ray let me sauna alone. I was not going to absorb their toxins. So, 2-person sauna, I have one just for myself. Claustrophobic in there. Anyway, so let's go on. So this is really important because I used to call week 1, because I was gearing towards the chemically sensitive, but we could gear it to ALS or any motor neuron challenged person. That week 1, even week 2 may stay the same. You may not go in week 2 to 20 minutes. I'm only putting the average bear in here, okay? Who may be, the detox pathways are already up. You know, you started, you're on the glutathione or you're on the NAC, you know, pathways open, methylation cycle ready. You may, but you may not. Week 1 may continue. So that's why we were saying, we just want to give you a template, somewhere to start from. Okay, so I say maintain your 30-minute sauna or stay at your longest comfortable time. I will tell you, for those of you who go beyond, it's not going to be good. I only know a couple of people who could stay in for 45 minutes.
Yeah, my limit
you
was
wanna
20
know- you
minutes.
wanna know
I
a
just couldn't
trick?
deal with it more than that.
You
It was
know-
like
you
enough.
wanna know-
But 5
wanna-
minutes, I mean, guys, also, if you, with ALS, if 5 minutes is all you're going to do for the first month, who cares?
Who cares? And you know what a trick is? If you weigh yourself before and you go in the sauna, and then if you lose weight afterwards, you're dehydrated. That's another little trick. But I feel like everybody who comes out's a little dehydrated, which is why you're going to drink more. I like to drink in the sauna. I don't want to be dehydrated. Anyway, there is this drug that they used to use for addiction. It was prescribed it was 50 milligrams, not 150. So that's a mistake. And they would get, you couldn't even drink. You would get so sick if you drank with it, right? So they were giving it to alcoholics. But research went on, and what happens is that they started giving it so much research. Just look up naltrexone. I would be surprised that none of every functional medicine doctor should have everybody who comes, I don't even care if you're not sick, on naltrexone. Okay, so the chemistry of it is that what it does is while you're sleeping, it triggers off endorphins that are connected to the immune system. I'll tell you, I didn't know if it was working. So I had been on it for a couple of years. And I was like, you know what? Do I have to pay for this out of my pocket? Is it really doing anything? After 2 weeks, I didn't know what was happening to me. And I called up my pharmacist and I said, I just have to tell you, I did an experiment with naltrexone. Do people report when I'm reporting to you? Because I didn't change anything but that. And he said, he gave me a video to look at. It was a live video with pharmacists, 2 women pharmacists. And they actually say that people call up and say, I stopped my naltrexone. Could you please have it for me today? So I got to see the benefits of naltrexone. I was just in terms of the immune system, you know, how I went through the day. I never lagged through the day, never take naps through the day. It was starting to happen. You know, I was traveling, that didn't happen to me. And all of a sudden, it's like, what did you do? And I said, do I really need naltrexone? I don't want to pay for this. Well, guess what? I went on naltrexone so fast, and I will not go off on it. Naltrexone is never taken at the beginning. There's a formula, and the doctor will tell you, they all know it. It's 1 milligram, 2 milligrams, 3, then 4. At 4, and then they go to 4.5. So it's not just taken one time. So that you have to go, it has to make a prescription. And so I say it was a big difference in how I felt. I wish I had naltrexone from the beginning, but we didn't know that. So in 1995, 1996, we didn't know about naltrexone. So I had taken that later. So if you guys say, oh, but it's later, that's okay. Doesn't matter. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, so we're talking about the nasal lavage. Okay, I'm not going to talk about these big machines that have to be used because a lot of people don't use them. We don't recommend neti pots. So many ENTs also don't recommend neti pots. They just don't go where they're supposed to go. So I have this little recipe. I know a lot of cows use the sinugator. I've heard of that. I've seen it. It almost looks like a water pit that vibrates up there. But The Nasal Pure, and I just go into a drugstore. It is the easiest to use, and I say just change it every 3 months so it doesn't outgas. What it does is it comes with packets that are already there. But what I like to do is I like to get some xylitol, because if you put that up and you just stay like this up, you don't have to go all the way down. It's going in here and it's going behind here, and it's going behind the throat where they find mark-ons. You know, people with mold test for the fungi, Richie Shoemaker, the mark-ons test. I had one done on myself. If you do this, you don't even have to get a mark-ons test, because I hate testing. Of course, I had to buy this Sinupulse machine because I had to see the difference, and I doubled the mixture because it's a big machine that you're going to put. What do I end up using? The Nasal Pure. It's there every day, every night, and it's part of my hygiene. I live in the high desert, so if you're living in a dry place, so high dry desert, so our cilia in our nose never gets moisturized enough. So if you're living in a humid place, it's actually better. And then that has its disadvantages with mold as well, right? So I say it's part of my hygiene. I do it like you would brush your teeth. So it's done every single day. And I think every single day that nose should be cleaned out. In Europe, the nose is the brain. In America, the nose is not the brain. The nose is the brain. You could see, I could put something up and stick something right into my brain. You can do surgery through the nose and get right up to your brain. So everything's available in the drugstore. I think Dietrich Klinghardt stole my recipe, and I still do nasal lavage every day. If you want to go on Dietrich Klinghardt, he has my recipe, but I had it first. So who knows? Maybe it's the serendipity of the universe, but I don't think so. I think somebody told him, but I just put that in as a joke, Heather. but mine did come out first. Anyway, so I think that's it. Do you see
She
how
had it published in her book, so
I had it published in my book first before he publishes? Heather's laughing because she knows Klingon. Okay, so nasal lavage. So 4 cups of cool water. And the reason why I say it is because I think you should do it twice. If you don't want to, just fill it. Just fill your Nasal Pure once. I'd rather you do it once a day than doing it, 2 times. So it's very easy. You're going to take cool water. Why? You never want hot water up there. And I'll tell you, if it's on the cold side, that's okay. But hot water, you don't want up your nose. Okay? Because there's inflammation. Every day, there's inflammation in your nose, depending on what you get exposed to. And every time I see thermography or the alpha scan, they'll say, oh, you've got a sinus problem. Well, it depends on where that person really was that day. So unless you really have a serious sinus problem, I look at that as, they say I have known, I touched this and everything, and then I know they were exposed. So I like to
she usually does it in the morning. So you haven't been anywhere. That's the idea.
Yeah, the idea, right, is to do that. But I will, if I'm coming off a plane and I've traveled, you bet I'm going to do that when I come off the plane that night, whenever I can. I mean, I shower and everything, so I'm like ridiculous. The clothes come off, everything comes off. The suitcase doesn't come into my house, it's outside. My husband just thinks that I'm just crazy, but I'm not. So I add the xylitol. I'm going to tell you why. If there's bacteria in there, you're going to smell ammonia. And I want to know, just with the water and Celtic sea salt, you might not. But when you it's like, it died. And I mean, you could smell the ammonia and you're like, okay, I need to do this. I might need to do it twice a day. So that smell's gone. Okay, another option is to put baking soda in there. I don't, because I have this thing with baking soda where I had gotten exposed up the nose as a dental hygienist. And whenever it goes up my nose, I get sick. So you're going to shake everything in a glass jar and everything will dissolve. Sometimes what I do as a shortcut really is I'll put water into the Nasal Pure because I'm in a rush in the morning. I'll put the Celtic sea salt in, and I have like a little funnel a very little funnel. And so I just put everything through there, 1 teaspoon of xylitol and the packet. I like the packet. You want to make your own. I used to make my own with the Celtic sea salt if you don't want to buy the packets, but they do have packets, and we saw them on every nasal pure will come with maybe 12 or 20 packets. Then if you like them, you could buy them separately. Okay. So I already was MORCONs, multiple antibiotic resistant coagulase, negative Staphylococcus. I don't even bother. There's going to be bacteria, mold, and yeast in everybody. It's just a matter of what. Now, Trish, this is Tish, and Heather, this is where the biofilm comes out. And I was telling Tish, I put the drain down. I want to see the damn thing. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it always comes out. But sometimes when I've traveled, I'm really around everywhere and I'm in really toxic places, I'll get a biofilm that comes out. And you'll know, like if it's yellow, it's bacteria. If it's green, it's viral. You will see. Mine are not big. I mean, they're these little itty bitty things, so like less than a little pearl, but they're there. Or if you want to take a sieve and you want to see, you could do that as well. So most chronically ill people, there's inflammation there. So even if you don't get a biofilm out, what is causing the inflammation there? Anything. So if it's not
a lot of people
pathogen,
have sinus infections and the paranasal sinuses, and they don't know it.
They don't know it.
So
right.
you won't know it. So you can have it and not know it. And that's so from what I understand, I'm going to ask you this question. If you have an infection in the paranasal sinuses, does this nasal lavage help?
Yes, and I think the biofilm is coming from there because you can't blow it out. It freaked me. I did a MORCONs test, okay? And I didn't have MORCONs, but on the swab, it's really a ridiculous test. It goes in the nose. It's the largest Q-tip. It's this long, and then it goes into the throat. You think you're going to choke yourself. And it took me 20 minutes. I was very careful, and I'm a practitioner. And I was like, oh my God, before I refer anybody for a test, I get the test. I want to see how bad it is. Well, the plug comes out and there's this yellow thing on it. And I'm like, no, does this have a magnet? Where the hell did this thing come from? There was nothing in my nose. So I put it in a thing. I put it back. It was a bacteria from a lake. When I was a psychotherapist, you take off 6 weeks and you go to a lake somewhere in Pennsylvania. I had my own lake, and it was from the lake. It had come out. How many years ago was that? So they actually said this bacteria only comes from a lake. You have no MORCONs, but you have this.
Well, that is fascinating because we've had people, there was one kid that used to swim in this reservoir, right? The 3 boys used to swim in the reservoir as kids. They were 3 friends. And they were living in, I forgot where they lived, but somewhere in the Midwest. And all 3 of them ended up with ALS. Isn't that interesting? Now, These are different genetics. They had gone to different parts of the country to live, and they all come down with ALS in their 30s or 40s.
Wow.
I mean, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, or maybe 50s, I don't know, but they all got it at different times because it depends on what other exposures they are. But don't think that there's not something in common here, guys. Right. And there were other kids
how close there
the
paranasal sinuses. I always say what's close to the brain. Isn't that, Tish, why we tell people to take care of their dental work as well? Everything in the head here is too close to the brain. And we know that in ALS, in multiple chemical sensitivity, we are compromised the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah, this is so important because it's just another piece of the puzzle is these infections, low-level infections from root canals, from sinus infections, and you don't even know that they're there because you can't feel them. And they're subclinical. So the only way to see them is the Alpha Site 9000, and which I will put in the chat, by alphathermo.com, because if you want to know if you've got an infection, that's the way to find out. And I want to thank Dr. Cowden for introducing us to that, but it is a really good way. And sometimes we've had people that have gotten the cone beam scans and they said, oh, you're fine. And then they get the Alpha Site 9000 and they find it, but then they know exactly where to look on the cone beam scan. That's what the dentist does.
Yes.
And then they will find it with the cone beam.
Yes,
'Cause they
they'll
know
take
exactly
another,
where to look.
yeah, they'll take another look. Yep. Okay. We could go to the next
Okay.
slide. So we're just going to summarize. So week 1 that we did was an overview of detoxification science, and we went through the pathways and why we need to detox. Week 2, we spent the whole time on enemas, inside and out, and getting rid of the mucoid plaque. We didn't talk about biofilms yet. So just to let people know, we did not officially talk about biofilms. We're learning now. We may be learning of a way to get them out without breaking them up. We used to break them up. So what we just did today, how to do a proper sauna, introducing naltrexone, and the importance of the nasal lavage and what instrument you use, not the neti pot. It's not gonna work. Okay. So reminder, bowels must be moving several times a day. Pathways, work with your doctor on that, and everything I said, go back. They must be clear. Okay, so if they're not, you're not going in a sauna. Okay, go back to week 1 and 2. Make sure you're prepared. Okay, you should not get sick if you are already. I detoxed at 69 pounds. I told my whole story, and in fact, that was the first one. You know, we didn't do detox. We just talked about my story, and I was very fragile. I want you guys to know that I did coffee enemas at 69 pounds. So I just want you to know that I did do my duty, and I had a protocol where every day you know, I'm going to say you guys because I come from New York. So you guys have to be distracted. Look, you have to make a protocol. So what I do on the people that I call coaching, I'm making a protocol for them to do every day. Let's add this. Let's take this out. Let's put this supplement. Let's take it out. Let's put this modality in. Okay, you're ready for a sauna. Okay, you're impacted still. We're still going to be doing these enemas. Oh, okay, you could go on to this coffee enema. So we really did it so you could do it at home, and so that you don't have to pay a coach. You know, if you've just been wiped out, you know, I never paid a coach. I was wiped out by the time I knew what to do. So you've really got, and with those steps, Tish, I mean, the steps, what we presented today and with the steps, there is always a place to start. Isn't that right, Tish?
Yeah, there's always a place to start.
Yeah.
So I'm actually just going to go over really quickly because this is important as far as the 47 steps go. And then we'll go on to Q&A. Firefox, there we are. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with the 47 steps. So just so you know, you know, we did step 1. We did the introduction last Thursday. We did step 1 this Thursday. This Thursday, we're going to be doing step 2. And every Thursday, we're going to be doing these 47 steps. So, and it's at a time where you can either do it first thing in the morning or in the US, if you're in Europe, it's our morning and your afternoon. And if you're in India, it's your evening. And if you're in Australia, the evening one is better because it's the next morning for Australia. So most of the people in the US are going to do it in the evening. A couple people in the morning, we see them at 8 if they're in the Eastern time zone. So, but the main thing here is, like, we talk about clean mouth. I mean, this is here. It's here. We will be talking about saunas. I mean, detox and saunas and things like that. You guys are getting a head start in a lot of this, but just so you know that all this stuff is going to be covered. And if you need to work ahead, my suggestion is go to the Sunday recordings. And also, if you want to get a lot of information in a shorter period of time, so if you haven't done, my suggestion is do boot camps 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you have not done the basic boot camps. From there, maybe the 219 and the 2022 recordings, because you've got a lot of information packed in one, and also the Sunday recording. So there's all ways you can work ahead, because we're not going to get to a lot of these things until the end of the year, but we are going to do all 47 steps this year. So I'm really excited about this course, because what we found is that the people, when we've interviewed people who have healed, reversed ALS, and we've also been to people's houses who haven't reversed ALS, and what we found is those who reversed, it's like they did every single little thing. So as Rita said, you know, she does nasal lavage as part of her daily routine. She has sauna as part of her weekly routine. And again, she did enemas every day for a long time. She doesn't need to do them every day now. Once you're healed, guys, you don't have to, you're not going to have such a strict protocol. When Carol was reversing, it took her several hours a day to do her protocols. Now, she's totally reversed ALS. She spends an hour and a half every morning to stay healthy, which is what all of us should be doing. But that's what she does every morning, and the rest of the day is to herself. So these protocols that may take a long time now, once you're healed, it's not a lifetime thing. It's a lifetime maintenance, which is a much lower level.
Explain that they can join the course anytime.
Yeah, so you guys can join the course anytime, but it's much more fun to do it with the group. So if you have not done the 47 steps, please go to healingals.org, catch up with the little bit that you've missed. And we tried to make the first few fairly easy and straightforward, so you should be able to catch up. Okay, I think we're ready.
People are asking where the recordings are for what I did. Where are the recordings? Are they up?
Yes. So if you missed week 1 and 2 of detox, great question. If you missed, please go to the Sunday recordings. I will share my screen for any of those who happen to have missed it. So I'm going to go to somewhere over here. Healingals.org. Here, I'll go to over here, healingals.org. Okay, healingals.org. And it's right here, Sunday recordings. Now, I'm not logged in, so I'm not going to see them. See this? If you get this, that means you haven't logged in. You log in, hopefully it'll remember you. I'm not going to have it remember me because I'm on a different password. Now I will be able to see it. So there's Dr. Rita Ferraro, part 2. There's part 1. And next week, we're very excited. We're going to have Dr. Cowden on for EMFs. Do not miss electromagnetics.
Yeah.
How to stay safe and how to get safe from electric EMFs. So great question, Rita. How do I see the last 2 weeks? Okay. Go ahead, Glenn. If you could start us off, that would be wonderful.
Sure. Angela was asking a question from way back at the beginning when Scott and Rita were talking about the biofilm buster and not people with chronic illness not being able to use it. And she wanted to know, are you talking about the product that Martin is selling?
So Martin, I had a big discussion with Martin, so we're going to discuss this. You have to look at the ingredients in the biofilm buster. There are very small amounts of corn. There's very small amounts of
Artificial flavors.
Normally with pals, we say don't do anything with these ingredients. However, sometimes you have to weigh the good with the bad, right? And so if you are not sensitive to any of those things and you can take it, it's only a week, and see how you feel. If you feel like you're feeling like if you're having a bad reaction after a day, stop taking it. But there are about 15 pals in Brazil, people with ALS in Brazil that have done it with really good results. And so you can find out more on the LEAP mission group, which, to me, if you're also serious about ALS, you want to join that LEAP mission group. It's every other Wednesday. Martin has a meeting, and they always come up with good stuff. And this is from a naturopath who's used it on many, many patients. And the difference between this biofilm buster that they're coming out, it's coming out in big pieces. So maybe it has some ingredients. And again, we're working with the medical team to see, can we replicate this without the bad ingredients? But in the meantime, if you're desperate to do it immediately, try it. And it's a week on, a week off, it's 8 weeks. So you basically you have to take this product every day for 4 weeks. And what the people are finding is once their biofilm is gone, all of a sudden Leap is working. So they were taking Leap XX before, and it wasn't doing any good. Then they do the biofilm protocol, and all of a sudden Leap starts working, and they're starting to feel better, and they're starting to reverse symptoms. So that is where they are. And you need to go to leap-mission.com to join there. And actually it's martin@leapxx.com or martin@leap-mission.com to join that group if you're not joined it already.
And the additional benefit, it's the mucoid plaque and the biofilm. So it's not the pictures you showed me, it was mucoid plaque and the biofilm. And they're two different things. So you can
and they're
look
both
at.
coming out with this.
Yes.
So you don't need to do a mucoid plaque if you're going to use this
If you're
thing,
doing
one or the other. You don't do both. And like I said, we just found out about this within the past month. So the naturopath is presenting to our volunteer medical team on the 6th of February. So we'll have some more answers and more suggestions, and we should know within a month or so. Hopefully by the time we get to the biofilm, we will know something by the time we get to the biofilm module and the gut module, because that's all part of healing the gut. There are biofilms throughout the body. It's just that the gut biofilm is very important with ALS because people are not, they're not absorbing nutrients. And we're trying to figure out how to get you guys to absorb nutrients. It's so exciting what's happening. Okay, let's take the next question, and then after that, we'll take Harish.
Okay, Sally is asking, what dose do you recommend for low dose naltrexone?
They only go up to 4.5. I've seen some people stop at 3, but I have to tell you that 4.5, I've seen people do the best at, and that is the recommended dose. So that's the dose. You go up to 4.5. You never take it. The pharmacy will tell you and your doctor, because it's a prescription, that you never just take 4.5. They'll actually give you one prescription. It'll come 1 milligram and 1 milligram. And how many days, and then the 4th day you're like 2 milligrams till you go up to 4.5. There'll actually be a 4.5 milligram pill, and then that's it. That's what you're on. And I'm on it. It's best to take after 9 o'clock at night, because that's, you know, the whole thing about the endorphins and detox.
Okay, Harish, let's unmute you. Go ahead. And if you could put your video on, that would be great.
Hi there, hi to Patricia and Dr. Ferraro. Just wanted to clarify, you know, with nasal cleansing, doctor, you said it can help remove a biofilm. Would that just be the biofilm in the nasal area, or could it contribute to removing biofilm in other parts of the body as well, please? Thank you.
No. If you find a way, let me know. No. Boy, if we could find a way like that, Harish, that would be amazing. You know, just going up the nose. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to drill something in our head to come out.
So right now we can, the nasal lavage will get rid of, if I understand correctly, Rita, the nasal lavage will get rid of the biofilm in the nasal area, but obviously you're going to take something in your stomach to get rid of the biofilm in your gut.
Right.
And then you have to work
We
on the
can't
other
just do
areas with
it.
biofilm doing other things.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great question. Okay, Heather and Glenn, I'm going to actually ask you guys to alternate. So Glenn, do you want to go next, and then Heather after that?
Sure. Karen is asking regarding the sauna. How do you make sure it's clean after use? How do you clean it?
Okay, so I clean my sauna. I would probably say afterwards, and I just use diluted vinegar. because I can handle it. When I couldn't handle it, there was a special soap that we used at the environmental center. It's called green soap. Please don't Google it. There's some other green soap out there. And I would just wipe. I was taught just wipe it down.
Yeah, I just use a towel on mine. I just take a dry towel and wipe it, and then I have to wash that towel all by itself. I don't put it with anything else.
No, that exactly. And we were taught, if because we couldn't go naked at the center, a counselor, not Dr. Ray, and Dr. Ray should have told all of us, a counselor used to tell me, throw out those clothes. And every week I want you to throw out your t-shirt and your shorts, because people would wash that and then wear it again. But we were outgassing way too much to wear the same things. So I would change clothes, like throw them out, not even wash them. They were so toxic.
Oh, I washed mine.
I like the naked. I'm a naked girl. I like the naked.
And Scott wanted me to expand on that as far as storage of it, saying that do not store them outside, like on a balcony or a porch, because the sun will do them in.
Oh yeah. Well, the sun, how I off gas a lot of things, and sometimes I don't take them in, and Scott, that thing is ruined. The sun is the degrader of everything. Sometimes I put a piece of clothing, I came out of the plane and I can't stand that smell, the smell of the bathroom, and I keep it out. If it's a black item and I forget, no. Yeah, I mean, I wash it, but then I've ruined so many things trying to outgas in the sun. So I don't put the sauna out there. You're
Okay,
muted,
Heather.
Scott.
So Jalal asked if you recommend a sauna to lie down. I know Dr. Cowden had recommended one and another one, but what do you think of that, Rita?
Absolutely. I think if a person is having too much trouble putting their wheelchair in the massage, although if you look at the recordings, I did show how you can do that. But the one that Dr. Cowden, there's no reason, because your head is out. There's no reason if it really, really, really is getting too much to sit up, in the wheelchair and leave you, maybe not alone, but even if you have a caretaker, then I would go with Dr. Cowden said. But what I want to tell you is so many people in wheelchairs just don't disregard the TheraSage, because it has so many things in it, and it is very good and easy to use. So you could slip your wheelchair right in there. And we have pictures of it that we showed. So go to the recordings. We have pictures that we showed from Sarah and Eric. Sarah and Eric gave me pictures. So we showed those. So that you don't get burned by your wheelchair. It's just amazing what you could do. So you won't use the chair that comes with it. You'll use your smaller wheelchair.
So it's not dangerous to have metal in the wheelchair when you're sauning? Okay, what about ozone? I thought you weren't supposed to use.
Completely ozone, no. But it's completely, what can I say? You're completely covered. To look at those pictures that I presented, and it's completely covered. So it's like a whole different ballgame.
Okay, great. So regular sauna, yes. Ozone sauna, no. You don't put metal in an ozone sauna.
No.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to Glenn, let's go to Craig. You can go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm wondering about Lagu as a cleansing process for the body. This is a yoga practice where you drink a lot of salt water and do some yoga exercises, and it flushes your whole body out. It goes through the body quite quickly, through the digestive system. Dr. Rita, I'm wondering if you've used this before or have a comment on it?
I don't recommend it because most of your sodium pumps are not working. So to put that much sodium in at one time when somebody's chronically ill, it might work for somebody who works out, somebody who, you know, is so healthy, their muscles, they're very musculature. I wouldn't even do it. So I would not recommend doing that because the sodium pumps in all of you are not working.
Okay. Would coffee enema be a more suitable flush out?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You just do
Yeah.
that at home?
Just do that at home.
Yes.
You're talking about ozone in the sauna.
The sauna with the head
What is-
sticking out, though, not
Yeah,
with.
what is ozone, please?
So ozone is oxygen with an extra oxygen molecule, O3. Okay. What it does is instead of inhaling oxygen, you can take in ozone through the body, through the skin, through rectally, any opening in the body, except you don't want it to go into your lungs. I don't recommend anyone with ALS doing nasal ozone. I don't care who you go to. They'll tell you, hold your breath, and they'll put it in. I still won't do it because there always could be a slip up. And if you get ozone into your lung, ozone can be a toxin. So there's many uses of ozones. Okay. And I think we can't get into that today because
Yeah, we will be
ozone,
doing an ozone Sunday,
Ozone is
so,
gonna
and we'll be
be-
doing an ozone
Yeah,
module, so
and
and
let's.
ozone, Craig, is going to be a very good modality that we'll get into.
Okay,
It's a whole topic. Okay.
okay. Just
And look
one
it up
more
and
thing
also
if I
speak to,
can. I have a swimming pool that I do exercise in, a saltwater chlorinated pool. Is this a toxic thing or is this a safe thing?
It's well,
to be in?
it's better than the chlorine one. There's still going to be chlorine in there, but
Yeah,
if you could compromise, this is where I call compromise. If you're exercising and you're detoxing and you're still feeling good, if you come out of there and you don't feel good, then that's not a good thing. If you come out and you don't notice a difference and you get a gain, then I would say that's your compromise. I don't want to take
Okay.
that away from you if that's helping you exercise. Yes,
Sure.
there's chlorine in there. Is it like really safe? No. But is it better than the other pool? Yes. Are you getting a gain from it? Then don't take it away.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Have you heard of colonics where somebody actually does the enema for you with the machine?
yeah, we
Yes.
Is it-
talked about that last week. It's in the recording, so I want to go to the
Ah.
next question, but it is in
Yeah.
last
Thank you.
recording that was discussed in detail. Thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Craig.
Glenn, I think you're up.
Sure. Well, I'll ask Heather's question. Why is wiping the sweat off bad?
Oh, I thought I talked about that. Okay, so each time you're stopping the sweating, somebody put that in the comments. You're stopping the sweating. We want to sweat, sweat, sweat as much as we can. So when you dry yourself off, you have to break out into another sweat. So you're stopping more toxins from coming out. You'll get a better sauna and more toxins coming out if you let the uncomfortable sweat go all over the place and on your towel. And if it's in your eyes, just dry your eye. Mine, it just, because I'm in a closed sauna, it's all over the place. And so what I used to do, and I got told by experts who sauna, why are you doing that? And because I'm the type of person who I don't sweat normally, so I just think it's icky and I can't stand it. So I just, well, I didn't think it made a difference. It makes a big difference. So that's why it's bad. You keep stopping the sweating, and then you have to start a new sweat. You wouldn't believe. Okay, so ask me this. So did it make a difference, Rita, once you stopped drying yourself off? Oh my gosh. I sweated so much more. It was unbelievable. I was stopping the sweating.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
I never knew that, and I've been using the sauna for 12 years. So.
Well, I was using it for years, Heather.
mm.
I was doing it at the environmental center. You think because I was alone, nobody told me.
There are some really good short questions. Let's get these other questions. I'm going to just grab a couple of them. I'm very sensitive. Well, one of them is metal in a knee problem in ozone sauna.
Is metal a knee
In
problem?
a knee, you've got to replace knee replacement, so you have titanium knee. Is that a problem in an ozone sauna?
No, not at all.
Okay. Linda asked, I'm very sensitive to caffeine. Is there a substitute for a caffeine enema? But I think you mentioned that last week that you could be allergic to caffeine and still do a coffee enema. As long as you do it properly. So you have to listen to last week's discussion. So we're going to go bang, bang, bang. Can nasal lavage help with nasal polyps?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. I'm going to
If you
let
had been doing the nasal lavage, there probably would not be polyps there.
Okay. Glenn and then Heather.
Oh, wait a minute. I think it's my turn.
Oh, it's your turn. Heather, then
Go ahead,
Glenn.
Heather.
Go ahead, Heather.
Go
Well,
ahead,
I
Heather,
have
scan
one
you.
that I think is very important to address. And Kathleen said that she thinks that the sauna is damaging to people who have ALS. And I'd love for that to be addressed.
I would like to know.
I know she did expand, saying that for her husband, when he was in heat, it made him worse. But I thought I came on and told about my son. At first he was worse, and then he had to work on. But is there anything else that we can say? Because I don't want people to be scared away from using the sauna, because I think it's so important in detoxing.
Okay, so when I was at the environmental center, I did see people with stealth pathogens. Stealth is Mycoplasma incognitus, chlamydia pneumonia. It's not the STD, it's chlamydia pneumonia. And people felt that, oh my God, I'm going backwards, or got a fever. They didn't stick with it. They didn't even listen to Dr. Ray. And he was like, you know what? You don't have to do it every day, but just do it a little bit. So that's what happens. The other thing was, this person have metals in their mouth and was somehow the vapors were getting absorbed in the body. Was there some sort of toxin that this person was breathing while in the sauna? Was the sauna an appropriate sauna for this person? Right? Some saunas I can't even walk in. It's like, bye-bye. My friends will say, I have a great sauna. I'll look at it and I'll be like, I'm not going in there. I don't like the wood. It stinks. So there's so many, I have never heard that on ALS. And there's research. What I should put is the studies, because when I make these talks, I always look like for more than what I know. And there was no contraindication for anyone who had ALS.
And we've had several of our reversals have used sauna as the part of the protocol. I mean, this is a significant way to get toxins out of the body. So don't give up on a healing modality. My guess, Kathleen, is that you are being exposed to mold in your house, or there's something else going on with maybe petroleum, who knows, but there's some exposure that's going on, and that's why he's sensitive to the sauna. But not all pals are going to have that. And it might even be a hint that you still have an exposure in your home.
And you know, we do call about the sauna. We say with some people, it happened to me, you hit a brick wall. We say that all the time. And that means that you can't sauna. And that happened to me. I was in a closed sauna. I was up to my metal fillings. They were still in my mouth. It got all the drugs and petroleum out. I was feeling great. The minute I went and I was up to my amalgam fillings, I couldn't go in. So there's always a reason. So even if right now, Kathleen, that's what's going on, then you know better. Let's always make an exception for somebody, okay? So let's make that exception, but not throw it out. So if it really, everybody knows themselves, maybe at another time pick it up when you've done another modality that you could do. So let's say that there's a brick wall for your husband for whatever reason we don't know right now. Well, don't just throw it out. Try later after you've done modalities that he can do. That's what I would say. to that question.
Great. And we still have to get the toxins out of the body somehow. If there's
Yes.
another way to get them out,
There's
get them
another
out. Right
way.
away.
Absolutely. Maybe when his load gets down, then he could tolerate. I had an autistic, he was 20 years old and he was sitting near me and waiting to go into the sauna in Dallas. And he didn't come in with me, and he came in and he was in there for 10 minutes and he came out and he took the furniture and he just busted everything up. It was too much for him. Nobody was watching him, and he just went crazy. He was 20 years old. This kid could have done damage, and they didn't watch him. His mother wasn't there. I jumped out of the sauna and I said, look, this kid, there's really nothing wrong with him. He's overheated and he went in too long. Nobody watched him. So, we didn't put him in because he just got, remember, he's autistic. He's 20 years now, and somebody puts him in the sauna right away. Big mistake. Okay.
Okay, I want to finish up because we're late on questions. So let's maybe take another question each, Glenn, and pick a good one each. Glenn and Heather. And if we can do rapid fire, you can ask 3 in a row if they're really fast.
Someone's asking how they do the nasal lavage when they have a trach and they're bound to bed.
Nasal lavage with a trach. Rita.
I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
that
would think
answer.
it might be easier, but again,
I don't know that I can answer that safely right now.
okay. So we should
Okay.
ask someone with a trach.
So I will, yes,
We can maybe find that out for next week.
right.
Great question.
Infrared sauna or heat sauna or steam sauna? Can you use
Steam
any one?
sauna, yeah. Okay, so out of the 3, I rule out steam sauna. Okay, the less help that you're ever going to get. Okay, so you're not going to really sweat out toxins. I don't care if you're in a high heat sauna when I say 150, 155, and it doesn't have infrared. If that's what you have, that's what you're using, right? I didn't have infrared. They didn't even have infrared back then. I made panels. They don't come directly at me. They only come at certain points in my body.
But if you're
Well-
going to buy one, which one would you get?
If I would buy one, I would buy one with the infrared.
Okay.
Because really, I'll tell you, they're the same price.
Okay, next.
Where do you get the chemicals and everything tested? I know you said that you got some things
I will
tested.
put it on the website. I will have to call Dr. Jack Miller. He had it. And I'll put it on the web. Trish, I'll give it to you.
Okay, that sounds great. We'll put it on healingals.org.
Do you use L. Ron Hubbard as a reference source? I know I read his book, but there are also other doctors.
Okay, so Dr. Ray took it. I got a document that I wasn't supposed to have once. I don't have it now anyway. That was like secretly stolen from him from somebody, and they gave it to me. We don't do it's the principles, but we're not going in. He throws you. It was really for drug addicts, right? So they throw you 3 times a day in there, right, to get out drugs. So it doesn't really pertain, but the underlying thing was from Ronald Hubbard. It is.
Mhm.
But we're not going to do it his way. Okay, next question.
Why do you not recommend neti pots?
Because the neti pot doesn't go to the ethmoid sinuses, the paranasal sinuses, and sometimes it just gets stuck. You got to go like this. The pressure from the nasopure, if you could try the difference, if you saw the difference, you would know what I'm talking about. If you use a neti pot and then you use the nasopure, there aren't words to say how thoroughly this thing that you squeeze with force versus that little neti pot that could get stuck in your throat and not get the areas that you need to get. It doesn't get them. So why buy a neti pot? Next question.
Okay, and then we'll go to breakout rooms after that. And Okay, yeah, go ahead. We'll take one more.
I'm actually trying to scan through for a good one. So how, can you do the mold flush protocol with the sinus biofilm protocol? Can you do them together, or can you add both protocol ingredients together? Mold protocol has sodium and Lugol's iodine.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think that Dr. Cowden makes everybody put iodine. I don't, because there's problems with iodine. So I don't want somebody to start off on the wrong foot. Hey, if you're doing the mold thing and you're okay with the iodine, then that's no problem.
So do you still wipe the sweat off as you finish the sauna, or is that not good
After
either?
this, yes, I'm not going through my house dripping.
Yeah.
Then I take it and then I do that. But one of the important things is to go right into the sauna. Don't go to that supplements. Your body could wait. And use a washcloth, not your hands. You have to wash yourself down with a
And then take a
washcloth.
shower immediately. Like I dry myself up and then go in the
Immediately.
shower.
Yes, shower immediately. Forget about those supplements. You'll be okay. Don't
Because you're
go.
not able to get into the shower.
Don't go at the supplement. You have to do something to wash off. If you can't get into the shower, somebody's washing you from head to toe with soapy water. You have to get that out. You have to get that off your skin.
Yeah. And the environmental
The
center,
ozone sauna is better, by the way. The ozone sauna, you've got some leeway there. You've got no leeway with the infrared and high heat saunas.
What do you mean you have no leeway? What are you talking about?
You must go into, and he's saying, what if I can't, what if I don't shower? I said, you have to shower after a sauna like that. You cannot get away with it. You want to reabsorb what you just took
Plus
out.
you're
You will-
soaking wet and smelly.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, yeah, could you imagine going somewhere?
but also that sweat is so full of toxins. If you let it dry, it's just going to go back in and
Go back in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rita,
Plus
the
nobody will want to
environmental
be near
center,
you.
did that close when Dr. Ray died? The environmental center
No,
in
it's
Dallas?
still open.
Okay. All right. So it's still there. What's the name of it?
The Environmental Health Center
In
of
Dallas, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
It used to be Dr. Ray, REA, but I wasn't sure.
REA. Yeah.
Yeah.
He died at 98. Went to
He's
go see
allowed.
him.
He's allowed to die at 98.
Right, he is.
Must have been all that detox that he did.
Oh, when somebody would die, like his researchers, they worked on the second floor and he wanted to make it clean for them. And they said, don't bother making it safe. And every time somebody died, he'd call me up and he'd say, Bertie Griffiths died, who was the immunologist. You see, they wouldn't let me make the office clean. And he was right.
All right. So guys, we're going to start, Scott's going to start saying goodbye. I do have the breakout rooms. So everybody can unmute themselves now. And there are 3 breakout rooms, but Scott, why don't you do the goodbyes? Dr. Rita, are you able to stay?
Yeah, I'll stay.
For extra questions. So the questions that we didn't get to, Dr. Rita has volunteered in the breakout room to take more questions in a Dr. Rita breakout room. And then the second breakout room is going to be about the Phyterica wand, if people have questions about that, mold and AO scan questions. And I think I'm going to be in the wand questions. So if you also have the, I can also answer questions about the 40 steps to healing also. 47 steps to healing. So if you have any questions about that. So it's sort of dual, and Heather will be in the mold and AO scan question room.
And yes, that's going to be an amazing course, the 47 steps. I'm going to go ahead and start my goodbyes right now so you can have time to go to the breakout rooms. You can go to the breakout rooms anytime as soon as they are available. Just the right bottom corner of your screen under more, in that area next to reactions, it'll say breakout rooms. Just click on your breakout rooms. There'll be blue buttons. Go to the blue button, join. And there's going to be more detox questions with Dr. Rita, 47 steps, and the wand, and mold and AO scan questions in the 3 different breakout rooms. Okay. So Craig, thank you for tuning in with that question. Very important. Thanks for tapping in there. Thanks for being here with us. Dr. Rita, thank you for your wealth of information.
Oh, you're welcome.
There's so much going on with saunas. Some people, when they first jump into a sauna, their body is so toxic, they can't take it. So they have to do just a little at a time, but it's important to get those sweat glands going and get the lymphatics going, get your drainage happening. It's just too important. So yes, a little bit at a time. Sometimes what we have to do is evaluate our own body and our own system. And little things at a time is very important, especially for the naltrexone. Can't just jump into naltrexone. It is very, very diligent process that you go little at a time. Okay, everyone, take care. We love you all. Thank you, Glenn, for moderating. Thank you, James, for taking all those notes and being here with us. Thank you, Heather, for also helping in the moderating. And thank you for helping with the AL scan questions. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. So we see you, Sally. I see you waving there. Bye, Betsy. I see you waving, Betsy. Bye, Dorothea. We see you over there. Bye, Craig. And so much. Oh, Jonathan, Tandalea, thank you for being here. David and Mike Bergman. Hey, Mike, how are you doing? How are those hands doing now? We spent some time. Yeah, you're getting it up. You can move those fingers back and forth. Nice, nice. Keep it going there, brother. Keep it going. I noticed, you drove all the way to the conference. You're still driving, huh? Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, bye, Mr. Campbell family. Robert, thank you for being here. Bill and Don, thanks for being here. Looks like you're moving pretty fast over there. You're in a vehicle there. Yes. Okay, bye, Joseph. Bye. Bye, Raj. Bye, Lorraine. Okay, nice that you tapped in. Bye, Bosa. Bye. It was so nice meeting you. Bye, Garrett, Ariana, and boy, there's so many folks. Sanjay, there's a lot. Okay, Sharon Little, thanks for being here. Hillary, thank you for being here. And keep going there. Hopefully we visit you in that area sometime, down in that Las Vegas area. Bye, Julie. Bye-bye. Steve, Lozic family, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye. Bye, Margot. Bye, Renee. Bye, Martin. Bye, Victoria. Bye, Steve, Trisha, Yao, William, Sherry, the other Linda. And thank you for being here so much. Bye-bye. I can't get to all the names. Bye-bye.